welcome beautiful lives to Unity Church of San Antonio. I can't help it. God makes me wanna sing. I can't help it. God makes me wanna sing. Make me feel so good. I can do anything. I can't help it. God makes me wanna sing. I can't help it. God makes me wanna sing. Make me feel so good. I can do anything. Make me feel so good. I can do anything. Make me feel so good. I can do anything. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. 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 Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. 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 Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. 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 Just close your eyes and breathe and know that you are safe. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, floating to mystery. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, floating to mystery. No need to make a plan. Your heart will be your compass. Lift yourself in faith and trust that you will arise. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, floating to mystery. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, floating to mystery. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, floating to mystery. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, floating to mystery. Floating to mystery. Floating to the mystery. All right, our wonderful Reverend Jimmie Scott.
Good morning, friends. I'd like to take just a brief few moments to take a for a few moments of prayer and meditation. So wherever you are watching us online, I invite you to find a comfortable place to set aside just a few moments. Close your eyes if that feels comfortable and appropriate for you. Just settle in. Begin to enter into that sacred space. The musical rendition of Letting Go of the Shore. It's a perfect recipe for us to let go of our worries and our concerns. And when we begin to let go, we realize that we've been attempting to push through life. Letting go reminds us that pushing is sometimes futile. And in letting go, we can begin to gently release our grasp on the outer world. Just give in to the greater all-knowing source of light and love that is always with us. Letting go releases anxiety, allows us to relax, deeper into an increasingly more patient and receptive state of mind. Go reminds us that there is a power greater than the individual self in control of our lives, in control of our affairs, in control of our world. Letting go. Reminds us that we can trust in the unknown. For the unknown has been a conscious, a continual presence in our minds and in our world since the beginning of time. So again, I invite you to relax. Notice your breath. Just breathe a little freely, a little more freely, a little deeper. Feel it in your diaphragm. Feel your entire body beginning to relax. From the tips of your toes to the top of your head. Just relax. In that relaxed and peaceful state, feel your connection to everything that is around you, and everything that is in your world. Be at peace. We give thanks this morning for the incredible peace of God that surpasses all understanding. As we move through this time of prayer and meditation, feeling the body, allowing it to feel lighter, allowing the mind to function with greater clarity. In your mind's voice, you can repeat, I am at peace. I am at peace. And so it is. And amen. This morning's message is entitled The Anatomy of Hope. I want to thank everyone for joining us this morning online. This message comes from the New Testament of the Scriptures. And in the New Testament of the Bible, the concept of hope is used almost entirely by the Apostle Paul. And as far as I can understand, he used it as a means to give guidance to his followers. And he also used it as a means to give structure to his faith. One example comes from Romans, the 8th chapter and the 24th verse, where he states that we are saved by hope, but the hope that we are saved by is not hope that is seen. It is not hope that is visible. It is hope that we structure in our minds so that we can look forward to the unseen possibilities that can come in our lives. And when he stated that, he also said that once that happens, we develop the patience to wait for hope and to wait for its unfolding to take place in our lives. And one key word in this passage is the word saved. The root of the word saved in the Greek language is sodasio. And it was used both literally and figuratively to mean to do well or to save yourself or to find salvation, which was not necessarily salvation as we refer to it in today's modern times. That term comes from our modern day religion. In this historical setting, salvation meant to be free from rule and rulers who were creating havoc in their lives. The Greeks and the Middle Easterners and all of the early people of the Bible wanted deliverance from persecution. They wanted to be free from someone determining how they should live their lives. They wanted to be free from the illusions of life that were troubling them and creating problems for them, many times in the guise of arguments with their fellow tribesmen or things that were not productive for them and were not enabling them to live the kind of life that they wanted to live. In that regard, they were no different than we are. Their lives were unpredictable, and it was unsettling. Their faith was always being tested on many levels, and that too was unsettling. But somehow, through all of that unsettling stuff, they managed to not only survive, but to produce some marvelous and amazing things in their known world. Many of those things have lasted throughout history. When we think of all the great inventions that took place hundreds, thousands of years ago, we have the Bible, which is the greatest book ever written. We have some incredible temples that have been around for hundreds of years. They were the inventors of early culture, early science. Many of our mystical teachings came forth out of that time frame. Many of the healing rituals that we utilize today all came out of that time frame when they refused to give in to the circumstances and conditions that were making their lives uncomfortable. And because they refused to give in, we have a better world today. Many times in our lives, trouble comes in different forms, and we are dealing with an enemy that we cannot see today. But that does not mean that we should not cease to push forward and increase our hope and increase our faith that soon we will be back to a different and a more newer normalcy. The other key word in that passage by Paul is a word that we're all familiar with. It's patience. Modern day living and this post-modernistic world that we live in has diminished our current capacity for patience. In the Bible, patience was called virtue. It's a quality of self-restraint. It's the ability to endure, the ability to deal with adversity without giving in to frustration, without giving in to anger, without allowing our lives and ourselves to become overstressed, without giving in to sadness or anything that might get in the way of one's ability to make progress in their life. A working knowledge of the anatomy of hope is a valuable thing. It's certainly helpful, but putting it into practice is even more important. And that's what we have the opportunity to do today, is to put hope into practice. Whether we are isolated in our homes, whether we're the few people who are allowed to work on their own, or whether we're on the front lines dealing with this major catastrophe, it's important that we keep hope in practice. It doesn't have to get complicated. It can be as simple as, to use a 12-step term, take a personal inventory of what's going on with you every couple of hours, so that you have some understanding when you begin to stress out or to feel like heaviness is coming over you. It's a valuable tool. These simple, spiritual, practical, psychological tools that have been around for years are incredibly valuable during this particular point in our history. Hope is a powerful thing, a very powerful thing. Another thing that troubles us today in modern society is the issue of control. Most of us have control issues. I know I have a lot. And one that I have in particular is always trying to be on guard so that I don't make a mistake, which is absolutely absurd and insane because it's impossible to avoid making mistakes. Many things we have to deal with in life are beyond our control. So there's no way to be prepared for them ahead of time, completely. But if we trust and if we have hope and we have faith, we can enter into our practices without feeling like we're being overburdened. We don't have control over outer things, but we do have control over how we respond. And we can control how our response will impact our lives and what we are engaged in. There is no limit to the amount of creative ways that we can respond to circumstances and conditions in our lives. If you've been watching the internet, you see some amazingly creative ways that people have come up with to keep themselves active and busy during these times of isolation. I saw an amazing video of a woman and her dog doing yoga and exercise together. And the dog was just as capable of doing some of the exercise activities as the woman was. It's amazing what can happen when we turn within and begin to trust in our inner nature and allow that inner nature to open up the creative aspect of God that is in us and enable us to deal with challenging situations and conditions. These things that we're discovering about ourselves during this time of isolation and troubling circumstances is going to prepare us to become even greater as a species. The only question we have is whether we will accept that opportunity or whether we will allow it to pass us by. In his scriptural passage that I used earlier by Paul, he talked about the practice of waiting patiently. And that practice was something that enabled him to have the incredible ministry that he had for the years that he had it. We can all do something. We can all make a contribution. We can help our neighbors. We can help the institutions that are going out of their way to keep us safer and stronger. We can do better with the way that we've paid some of our employees throughout the years and the way we value people and their skill sets. I was amazed this week as I was leaving from the grocery and heading home, and I saw 3 people out in the yard cutting grass. And they do that for a living. It was pouring down rain. And I thought, how incredible is that they're out here working in the rain, trying to mow someone's lawn, not just to make a living, but doing it because they had accepted the responsibility to be responsible for doing it. Hope. This is a powerful thing. So what I want to invite you to do this week, friends, is to check your perspective. Are you feeling as if you are a victim? Or are you feeling empowered? It may sound a little harsh because it's easy to feel victimized when conditions are beyond our control. But the other side of that is we have the ability to determine how things that are beyond our control impact us. And again, this is where hope comes into play. Hope is the arch enemy of victimhood. Hope can be much more empowering than worry and fear can. Hope can eliminate some of the stress that we feel. It can fire up the creative impulses in the body and in the mind and in the spirit. Hope can inspire you to reach out to others and to try to make a difference in their life and in their world. Hope can allow you to become even more hopeful. It builds on itself. it sustains itself, and the more we put it into practice, the more powerful it becomes in our lives. Hope can enable us to make practical and productive efforts in our lives and in the world. And the more empowered we become with hope, the more we see things gradually start to get better and better. We start to find solutions. We create healing. We empower one another. We create what the scripture calls victory instead of defeat and waiting on something to tear us down. Today is Palm Sunday. And in the Bible, the palm branch is a symbol of victory. It's a symbol of triumph, and it's a symbol of hope. And I was thinking this week that this day, this Palm Sunday day, is the first Palm Sunday day that I can recall in my career, perhaps even in my life, where I have participated in a service or been sitting in a service, and the service does not have children handing out or waving palm branches. It was always one of my favorite parts of Palm Sunday, is watching the children walking down the aisle, waving palm branches and handing them out. And it makes me a little sad this morning that we don't have that today. But feeling that sadness is still a day of hope, as is every day. So to the many children that are in my life and the many children all around the world, young and old, just want to send you a loving thought and say that I love you. And I love you all. And I want to send you a message of hope that you can participate in making this world a better place. So don't ever underestimate your value, and don't ever allow anyone else to do so either. I want to close with some words from one of my favorite people, Dr. Eric Fromm. He says, and I quote, "Hope and the wise, effective action that can spring from hope is the counterweight to the heavy sense of our own fragility. Hope is a continual negotiation between optimism and despair, and it is also a continual negotiation of cynicism and naivete. We hope because we are aware that terrible outcomes are always possible and often probable, but we also know and hope that the choices we make can impact the outcome of all the experiences of our lives. Never give up hope, dear friends. Never give up hope. It's time in our service for our prosperity blessing. I'd like to remind you that your giving is especially important during this time. And you can do that online at unityofsanantonio.org, unityofsa.org. Just check the green donate button. Or you can mail a check to Unity Church of San Antonio, 8103 Broadway, Suite 210, San Antonio, Texas. Our offertory prayer is divine love in our community blesses and multiplies all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive. And for that, we are ever grateful. Now, I invite you to join me in this closing prayer. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, even as the presence of God watches over us. For wherever we are, God is, and so it is, and all is well. Amen. Thank you for joining us, dear friends. Thank you for tuning in.
Because the ocean and the skies up above, one great Very, very nice. Something great is happening, love has taken hold and it won't let it go of us now.
Something here is calling us forward, upward motion, the drops in the ocean, roll on.
Will you rise up with me today? Lift up your voice and boldly say, we
Are the ones we've been waiting for. If the dream of your heart is calling, be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share your dreams with the world that's waiting for dreams that we're all creating. It's a moment for our greatness. Let's stand together.
Every day's a chance you can do something amazing. Feel your passion blazing and shine.
Paint with every vision and dance in new directions. Explore to new heights in your mind.
I will rise up
With you
today. Lift up my voice and boldly say,
we are the ones we've been waiting for. If the dream of your heart is calling, be the hope of a new day
So now join us in our peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family honoring. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With